to the Talking Sports Traders podcast, episode number...
This is going to be the third one.
Episode number 3. My name's Sean, I'm joined by Pete. How are you, Pete?
Yeah, good, thanks.
We're together.
Yep,
Okay.
in person.
Right, mm-hmm. Not over the computer or anything like that.
Yeah, get rid of the technical difficulties, we hope.
Absolutely, yeah. That's something we should point out. We promised you all an IPL episode. However, we had some audio issues, didn't we? Mm-hmm. We were slightly overlapping a little bit, and we just felt that it wasn't really good enough to put out.
Yeah.
So we just thought, yeah, let's not bother. However, what we could do is revisit that episode like midway through the IPL season and see how we did. Essentially, we are still putting out tips on our Twitter as well with the IPL. We came closer with it this weekend, didn't we?
Yeah, first game we had Rahane top batsman for the whole game, and he was short by 6 thanks to a Dhoni masterclass, which was unfortunate, but that's the way it is. He
was on fire, and we also had a fighting Aka as well, which came pretty close. I think one team let us down.
Yeah, one team let us down.
So we're getting there. So we had one winners and two close ones.
Yeah, we'll still be in profit.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're clever enough to cash out, perhaps you still could have made something there. So this episode is all about the championship. The championship football season. There is 7 games left, something like that.
Yes, well, there's a bit of a mix. Some teams have got 9, some teams got 7.
Yeah, exactly. So we just basically want to give you all our predictions as to who we think is going to get promoted, who's going to get relegated, who might just miss out, and also how the playoffs might play out as well. And we might even touch a little bit on the League 1, League 2 situation as well, for those of you out there who support those teams. So yeah, before we start, we actually started the IPL episode, didn't we, with a cheeky little question. Because obviously it was related to cricket, I asked Pete if he could go out on the piss, so big night out, with 3 cricketers, past or present. Who would they be? I can't remember who your answers were, actually. Do you remember?
I think it was Flintoff, one, and was it Harmison, I think?
And then I put Gale into the shoot as well. Gale, that was a shout. However, it is football related. So I'm going to give you the same question. 3 footballers, past or present, any league, any country, whatever. Big night out, big session. Who you having and why?
Well, I think it's going to be the pretty standard 3 answers.
Go on, then.
I'm going to go for Maradona, Gascoigne, and Best.
Interesting. So Donna's sorting out the drugs for you.
Yeah.
You got
Gascoigne entertainment.
Yeah.
And George Best can bring the women.
Yeah, I like that. Good shout. I'll throw a couple into the mix. I heard Gary Lineker as well. All right,
Yeah.
I like that one. But I'd also like to get some, obviously big night out. Before we all start getting smashed, I would like to have a few footballers there, I reckon, which I'd like to ask a few questions to as well. I'm a huge Peter Crouch fan.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd like to know what it's like, dating Abby Clancy, how you managed to do that.
Getting his media gigs as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's quite a few out there, but I like your selection. I think it's a good little dream team you've got going on there.
For sure.
Excellent. So, into the championship. I'm a Middlesbrough fan, so I follow the championship quite heavily. And it's been a bit up and down for us, and I think it's been like that pretty much for every team. And I think that goes to say for most seasons as well. The championship, I think there's an argument, isn't there, that the championship is more entertaining than the Premier League. And I think over the last 5-6 years or so, perhaps there has been an argument that it hasn't, because I guess the Premier League, there has been a couple of teams that have got the opportunity to win the league. Never really know who's going to go down. But before that, we had United, they were always winning it. City obviously went through a patch. Liverpool perhaps going through that at the moment, who knows. Whereas in the Championship, it's really unpredictable.
Yep. And often you find with the teams that sort of yo-yo, like Watford's, Fulham's, Norwich, West Brom, the fans, obviously it's easy to say because they win more games, but the fans enjoy watching the Championship games more. If you're a Watford fan, if you're a West Brom fan, they just enjoy it more.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as well, you've got more local games as well. So for those teams that are in like sort of the Yorkshire Midlands area, so like your I don't know, Sheffield United, Sheffield Wednesdays.
There's a lot of Yorkshire derbies, yeah.
Leeds obviously in the Prem, but when they were in it, they had some great away days there as well. And
Barnsley.
Yeah, for sure.
Sheffield Wednesday were. Rotherham seemed to be up and down between the two.
So there's a lot of like local games which really you don't have that far to travel in order to go to the matches. And I think that's probably one of the most attractive things about the Championship. I know for me, when I was in the UK, I used to love going to away days. The atmosphere was incredible, but it was also just visiting a different stadium.
Yep.
And that's something I looked out for as well. Like the teams that are coming up and the teams that are coming down. You're thinking, right, I haven't been there. That'd be great. Like try and sort that away day out, and messaging the lads and stuff.
Yeah, and a little thing that annoys me about the Premier League as well is how London centric it's becoming.
Yeah.
And often the teams going up are from London, so there's quite a lot of Northern and Midlands teams in and around the Football League.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like I say, I think it's a really attractive thing about the Championship. The league itself over the years has shaped out quite differently. We've had a couple of seasons where teams have just absolutely stormed it. So, for example, remember when Newcastle were in it and they got relegated. I guess it was quite a shock they got relegated, but they went straight back up, absolutely smashed the league, and it was easy.
West Ham had one as well.
Yeah, West Ham was all the same. You also get those teams where you just expect them to just go straight back up, but it's not that easy, is it?
No. If you don't get out the first or second chance, you're in real trouble.
Yeah.
There's been some big teams go down to League One. I mean, Southampton and Leicester and Wolves spent some time in League One, and Leeds, obviously. Yeah. City have been down there as well. So, yeah, you're not too big to go down from the Championship, that's for sure.
I think one of the biggest mistakes that clubs make is that they get relegated from the Premier League and they think it's okay to not invest anymore because, obviously, they had a Premier League team before. But what they have to understand is the Championship is just completely different. Like, you're not playing against, your Uniteds, your Cities, your Liverpools in massive stadiums with loads of space on the pitch. You go into Barnsley away. It's a completely different atmosphere. It's more hostile.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's one big, huge mistake people make. As the league currently stands, I think it's quite obvious, I would say, as to who's going up. As in who's winning the league, anyway. Yeah,
I mean, you've got to give all credit to Fulham, really. Mitrovic, he's on 35 goals already for the season. Yeah, ridiculous. But I have a little soft spot for Fulham, so I'm quite happy to see them doing well. They're trying to play nice football. They are playing nice football. The ground, it's a nice place to go and watch football. I've never really met a nasty Fulham fan. They're always quite nice, and I like my American football. Their owner, he owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah. And I don't know if you've seen the building, the new stand out into the river.
I think I saw that.
Yeah, it's going to have a swimming pool. Yeah. So it feels like he's trying to bring maybe is the best way to describe it is that sort of American vibe. Yeah. I know it'll wind a lot of people up, but I'd love to go and watch a game where there's loads of different entertainment going on because during the game you watch the game, but he's trying to make it like an experience for the whole day. You maybe arrive 3 hours early and you stay 3 hours afterwards. Yeah. So I'm all for it. It might work in the Premier League. Who knows? They might turn into everyone wants to go to Fulham away.
For sure. And I think if you look at how the Premier League's as well at the moment, I mean, you've got sort of Spurs with their stadium as well, catering for the NFL, and obviously at the moment with Chelsea, I mean, they could be owners. The owners from the NFL as well could be there. So I think eventually that's probably the way things are going to go.
Yeah, Man United's owners own the Buccaneers as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Liverpool's Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, a big merge.
That's it. In terms of second spot.
Yeah.
It's a little bit.
Well, it's a little bit, but I can't really see. Bournemouth have got 2 games in hand over Luton, who are in third, and it's quite ironic that Scott Parker left Fulham, and now is managing Bournemouth. And to be honest, it's just same old Scott Parker. It's just he's getting results, but it's kind of boring. Yeah. Like no one's excited about Bournemouth, are they?
I think the main reason for that is I think a lot of people expected them just to go straight back up because they did have a good squad when they were relegated. They saw some decent players, But one thing that people don't realise as well is that Bournemouth are a huge club, but there's other big clubs as well in the Championship, and we've seen it. We've seen the change between they've been in that second spot and they've dropped a little bit. I think Peterborough at one point had got into that space, and even like the Luton and stuff. So I think it's true. Like, you have to be careful. You can't just think, all right, I'm in second spot now, so that's it, we're through.
Yeah, Huddersfield. I think Huddersfield went ahead of them, yeah. But I think they'd played like 4 or 5 games more. The season's been sort of messed up in that way. But at least I guess it's kind of good to see Solanke scoring a load of goals as well, because he was like ridiculed quite a lot. When he first started,
because I think he's quite well developed for his age. I think a lot of people don't realise that.
Yeah,
and he had a lot of potential. I think a lot of people expected him to do a lot better.
Yeah, but when he first signed it, he was terrible. I mean, it looked like a real flop. But he has turned it around now, and 23 goals, I think, 23, 24. Wow. And that, if Mitrovic wasn't here, that's like a great return. But because Mitrovic has got 35, everyone's like, So I think he deserves a bit more credit than people have been, because people had been slagging him off, and he's come and proven that he is a good Championship player. Maybe he'll be all right in the Premier League. Even if he's not, it's not that embarrassing to be a top-level Championship player. A lot of people would really aspire to be that.
Oh, 100%.
So, yeah, hats off to him. It's nice to see Gary Cahill getting a run about as well. Yeah.
The thing is, if they get promoted, does he remain in the back line at the defence?
I don't know. I mean, he's got Premier League experience, but
true.
Maybe. I mean, Thiago Silva's 35, and he's going to be 36.
There's a big difference in class there, I think.
Yeah. And then, as well, I think Ryan Christie deserves a mention.
He came from Celtic.
Yeah, he came from Celtic, and having lived in Scotland for a while, and it's quite a brave step for a guy who's had it quite comfortable at Celtic. He's obviously a good player, but it's still quite a brave leap to go and test yourself in England, because it's a totally different system, and now he's going to get rewarded. He's going to be playing the Premier League next year, so fair play to him.
No, definitely. And Billy as well, another big player as well.
Yeah.
Literally big player. He is huge. You see, the size of him is massive. But he's technically gifted so well. He scored some really important goals this season for them as well.
Yeah. I heard as well with Bournemouth, I don't know, maybe have dealt with it really well in terms of the pressure, but I believe the pressure was really on them this year because the finances are like real way out.
Really?
They'd overspent a lot in the Premier League. They had to get rid of a lot of high-wage players, and I think they had 2 or 3 shots, and if they didn't get back into the Premier League in 2 or 3 tries, they were going to be in real big trouble, like Derby-level trouble.
Oh.
Yeah, but it looks like that gamble's going to pay off. And unfortunately, when the gamble pays off, that's what encourages other clubs a bit lower down to try that gamble, to go and overspend for 2 years in the hope that they do get. Because they see sometimes a team does it, like Bournemouth, and then they think, oh, we can do that. And obviously, not everyone can do it.
It's a huge risk, and especially with the financial play rules as well. And you have to be really careful with the finances and what you spend. Okay, so moving on. We're in the playoff spots now. 4 places up for grabs, and about 350 teams that can get into them, I think.
Yeah, I've gone from 13th down, 13th up. Sorry. So
you reckon the team that's currently in 13th, which is
Blackpool,
do you think they have a chance to make playoffs?
I think if you're a fan of a team, Blackpool is lowest. I think Blackpool fans can still have that dream.
Really? You think there's still a chance that 13th place Blackpool can make 6th?
Yeah. I mean, but in terms of the fans dreaming, they can go up there and think, wow, if we beat Forest, like, we've got a chance. And then if we beat the next team, suddenly there's only 6 games left, and you win 5 of them, and you've got a chance. And that's what I mean in terms of belief. In terms of would it happen, obviously it's very, very unlikely. Yeah. But football fans, they like to have hype. I think Blackpool, it's a big ask. They're only 9 points off, and they've got 2 games in hand.
See, 9 points isn't a large game.
Win both of them, and that's what I mean. Win your next 2 games. That's down to 3, and then they've got some really favourable fixtures. The last 3 games are Barnsley, Derby, and Peterborough. And by the last 3 games, the likelihood is that they're probably already down. I know it's a potential banana skin playing a team that's already relegated. They want to play well.
The last thing you want to do is go into those games with the expectation you're just going to turn them over, because it doesn't always happen like that, especially in the Championship.
Nope. But I think they've got the next 2 games are on TV as well, which I think not many people will have watched Blackpool this season. They're going to be on TV twice.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're currently 50-1. Yeah.
It's not bad for 9 points.
9 points with 2 games in hand. If they win their next 2 games, which are live on TV against Forest and Preston, Preston's a local Lancashire derby.
Yeah.
People will watch them. That 50-1, if they win those 2 games, will be right into 12-1. I'm not saying that they get in the playoffs, but I'm saying that 50-1, if they win the next 2 games, will be right into the teens.
And in terms of sort of their key players and the players who have been performing really well for them this season.
Well, they've got a couple. Josh Bowler, or Bowler, I don't know how you pronounce his name, sorry. But he was linked when the Fulham teenager, Carvalho.
Oh, Carvalho.
Yeah. When he was linked with potentially going to the Premier League, it was going to have a chain of events and Fulham were going to go in for him. Right. But then obviously he never left Fulham, so he stayed with them. So the chances are this is his last season with Blackpool.
Right.
But he's been doing really well. And then they had a new summer signing from the Irish League. I can't remember what team. I think it was maybe Linfield. Shane Lavery. He's their top goal scorer with 10, and he's only started 14 games.
Wow.
So he's got a reputation as a wee super sub.
Yeah.
So I think that the big outsiders, I think it's very unlikely, but I think they should be shorter than 50-1.
Yeah, I agree. I think 9 points, I think people are really overlooking them. I
know there's not many games left, but they need to win their 2 games in hand, and if they win their 2 games in hand, then everything to play for.
Excellent. Moving down.
I've done it in terms of where they currently sit in the table, not the odds.
Perfect.
So above Blackpool are West Brom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is a hugely disappointing season for them.
Yeah.
To say the least.
For sure. And just to put the odds in perspective again, so Blackpool are 9 points behind with 2 games in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. And West Brom is 7 points behind with 1 game in hand.
Wow.
And they're 11-2 to make the top 6.
Yeah.
So again, the 51 is just completely overpriced. But
Bruce is at the wheel now, isn't he?
Yeah.
He had a bit of a dry spell at the beginning when he was there, and then I think that this recently picked it up a little bit.
Yeah, they had a result against Huddersfield, I think it was.
Yeah.
They were 2-0 down in the 80th minute.
Yeah.
Ended up drawing 2-2.
Yeah.
And I think since then they've had a bit of form. But my worry with West Brom is that they seem to draw too many games, and you really need to pick up all the points now. Draws aren't good enough, especially when you need to catch up with points. They do have back-to-back games at the end of the season against Reading and Barnsley.
Mm-hmm.
So again, they could be dead rubbers.
Yeah.
Which obviously is going to be good for West Brom because they can still qualify for the playoffs, I guess. And their key player really has been Grant Carlin, 14 goals this season.
Wow.
But again, I think they've not been scoring enough for me.
Yeah, I think they've still got some pretty old school Prem players in that team as well. It look like Jake Livermore, I think he's still there as well.
Hal Robson-Kanu. No, it's not Hal Robson. It's Carl Robinson. Yeah. Sorry, that's what I'm on about.
Yeah, Johnson as well in net.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had a shocker at that game.
But I think he's injured as well, because I think he was called the England squad.
All right.
I think I saw it on a quiz actually. It was like how many England goalkeepers have been called into the England squad that are playing in a championship team, and there weren't actually that many. There weren't actually that many. But no, he's a quality goalkeeper. They've actually, on paper, they've probably got one of the strongest teams in the league. Mm-hmm. But they just haven't really performed at all this season.
No, it's not been a great season for West Brom.
No.
Next, Coventry.
Yeah.
So they're outsiders as well. They're 20-1, best price. They're 6 points off with a game in hand. It's been nice to see them in their own ground again instead of having to play in Birmingham, because that's not great. And I always root for Coventry because the town is so depressing. Well, it's a city, sorry. The city is so depressing that, I want to give the fans something to cheer about. So at least if at least if they have a nice run, something to keep them cheering.
That's it. It's hope, isn't it? That's what most football fans, especially in the lower leagues, are after. It's that hope.
Yep, and I think their fixtures are probably the toughest out of the teams that we go through. 5 of their last 7 are against teams that are above them in the league. and they sit in 11th. So it's pretty much nearly every game that they've got is against a playoff rival. If you can consider Coventry being in the hunt for the playoffs.
So they still have to play Fulham and Bournemouth.
I
believe.
Yeah, they must play both. Yeah. Wow. So their fixtures are going to be too tough. I can't see them winning because they need to win basically 5 out of them. So you're going to have to beat 3 of them, and
they have I can't remember their striker, Victor, I think it is, or something like that.
Yeah, he's a top goal scorer.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's been a pretty solid season, and you'd be happy enough as a Coventry fan.
Oh
yeah. And next is Millwall. Yep. Best price 7 to 1. They're 4 points behind with a game in hand.
Yeah. It's not bad.
Well, most teams have got a game in hand because Blackburn are sat in 6th and they've got 39.
Millwall have a strong defence. I remember them playing at Middlesbrough. It was a tough defence to break down, and I think even their goal difference this season isn't that bad either. Yeah,
no. Well, I've written that down. For me, they just don't score enough goals.
Yeah.
They're the lowest scoring team in the top half, and only Hull, Barnsley, Peterborough, and Derby have scored fewer.
Wow.
So you'd be 5th bottom on goals scored.
Yeah.
And you're going to struggle to get into the playoffs with goal scoring like that.
I think it's going to be tough. If you're a Millwall fan, you're probably looking at that stat and you're probably thinking, well, we need somebody now to turn on the fire a little bit and start going for it. Definitely won't be easy for them. I don't think I fancy them to make playoffs.
No, I don't fancy them either. They've still got to play Bournemouth and Luton, who are both doing well, second and third. But in between them, they do have easy enough fixtures. I think everyone that they play is in the lower half of the table. So, I mean, they've got a chance based on fixtures, but you just can see a couple of 0-0s thrown in there. So it's going to make no difference who they play. If you can't score, the maximum you can get is a point.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Forest next, I think.
Yep. Into the big dogs now.
Right, here we go.
Well, Forest are 1-2. They're the heaviest favourites.
Wow.
Yeah, they do have an extra game in hand compared to everyone else. So they're only 3 points behind Blackburn with 2 games in hand now. And I think the way they've been priced up, you can understand why. They've got Steve Cooper as manager now. He's got a massive reputation for the Championship.
Definitely.
Well, I like watching his teams play. He did well with Swansea, and you can see how much they've struggled without having him in this year. Since he's come on, he's made it like a real place that the fans want to go as well. So there's like a real bouncing atmosphere, a real feel-good vibe around the club. And when you get that feel-good vibe, decent manager, late run, that's the perfect combo for a playoff.
In terms of their upcoming fixtures, though, they got quite a tough run, you reckon?
Well, next is Blackpool, live on TV at the weekend. I mean, they should win it. But this is what I'm saying about Blackpool. There's a chance that Blackpool can win it. Blackpool aren't a bad team. And if Blackpool win that game, there we go. But anyway, I think they probably will beat Blackpool. Then they've got Coventry, Luton, West Brom. So they've got to play the teams in and around them. But you just think with the playoffs and with getting into the top 6, if you've got that late momentum, you usually are the team that...
And they also great players as well, Forest. There's one in particular which obviously I'm going to mention because he's on loan from Middlesbrough, is Jet Spence.
Yeah.
Right wing back, right back. And he's had a phenomenal season for them. Warnock, when he was at Borough, didn't want him. So the right thing to do was actually to take him out on loan. And Forest have done a fantastic job with him, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him come back to us actually because it'd be great to. I know a couple of Premier League teams are looking out for him as well.
Where does he play?
Who? Spence.
Yeah.
He's like a right wing back, back. Yeah, he's a good player, really good player.
Excellent, yeah. So 1 to 2, you can understand why they're priced like that. In my opinion, they probably should be in the top 6. Whether they win the playoffs or not is a different story, but should get into the top 6. QPR next. The international break came at the right time for QPR. They'd lost back-to-back fixtures. 11 to 2, best price. So considered kind of outsiders, same sort of price as West Brom. They're in 8th. They've got a game in hand. Mixed bunch of fixtures. They do still have to play Derby, but then they've also got to play Fulham and Sheffield United. So
it's quite fair that they're classed as outsiders. Then probably, I'd say.
Yeah, I think it's fair. They've just got a weaker squad than the big teams around them.
Definitely.
basically. I struggle to make a case for them, basically.
Yeah, I actually struggle to make a case for the likes of QPR and Millwall as well. I think you just haven't seen. I'm surprised to see them up there. I'll be honest, but they've obviously grinded out some results throughout the season. But no, I think it's right having them as outsiders. I can't see them making that top 6.
Nope. And then Borough.
We're on the Borough next, aren't we?
Yeah. I mean, so I'll pass that over to you.
Yeah, it's been an interesting season. I think obviously since we had Warnock and things weren't really working out for us. Don't get us wrong, we're super grateful for saving our season last season because we were close to that relegation spot. While they're in, and some of the football we played is some of the best we've seen in years. Some great players on loan, the likes of Balogun, obviously scored for England the other night under 21s. Yeah. Sporrar on loan from Sporting Lisbon, Connolly from Brighton. We've got some really good players, the likes of Johnny Howson turning back the years as well, playing some fantastic football. And we went on a brilliant cup run as well.
Yeah, it was great to watch.
Beat United and Spurs, unfortunately lost to Chelsea, but I think the better team won there. In terms of our season, I think we strongly believe that we deserve to be in that top 6. We just let ourselves down in some really key games. Like, it seems to be the games, like we lost to Barnsley, we drew to Millwall. We had some results where we really should have been better, but we struggled. On the plus side, we have some players that are in form now, like Isaiah Jones, Dale Fry, Paddy McNair. Our keeper's terrible, Joe Lumley, but hopefully that's something that won't let us down too much. I have been in the situations in a Borough fan where we've been in the playoffs, we've gotten to the final, and we've lost, and it is heartbreaking. I think if we got to the playoffs, I think it would be amazing. Mm-hmm. I think it'd be hard though. I think it'd be really tough, and I wouldn't mind it if we missed out or at least lost in the semis and rebuilt for next season and got a strong squad in and really gave it a push to try and get to that top 2, because I do believe that we're capable of being in that top 2. It's just a couple of change of manager hasn't helped, obviously. But yeah, I think what else are they giving us?
1 to 2, same as Forest.
I think it's about fair. I think we're on a pretty similar level to Forest, actually.
Well, in terms of reputation, which will be taken into account with the odds, Forest and Borough, everyone knows Forest and Borough. They're much bigger than QPR. They're much bigger than Luton. They're much bigger than Millwall. Yeah. So you can understand why they wanted to. I can see both Forest and Borough getting in.
It's going to be a tight one anyway.
And then the sort of form team throughout the middle of the season next, Blackburn.
Yeah.
They're 13 to 8 for a top 6 finish now, and maybe about 10, 15 games ago, the fans were really thinking that they were going to.
Well, they were phenomenal. That's why. With Diaz in form, and Burton Diaz, he was unbelievable. And I mean, we're talking about a team that they turned us over when we played them, and they've had a fantastic season under Tony Mowbray. He's been a loyal manager. I think Blackburn have been really loyal to him as well. That's something that's really important, because they have a few mid-table finishes, a few finishes outside the playoffs, and a lot of teams would quite easily just go, right, well, this isn't working, let's try something new and get a new manager in. But they didn't. They kept him on, and it looks like it could pay off for him. Yeah,
it's always good continuity. Seems a nice guy as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Ex-Borough man as well. So.
Yeah, and some positive news for them is that Diaz should be back after the international break, so he's going to help with a sort of late run. The fixtures aren't too bad. They've only got to play Bournemouth above them.
Okay.
And then Coventry and Blackpool in terms of the promotion chasing teams.
Yeah.
So their other 4 games should be relatively easy. And if you get 12 points, I can see them getting in the playoffs. I think 13 to 8 is an all right price, to be honest.
I think it's very good. Yeah. I think it's a really good price.
Because I actually think Huddersfield are going to struggle a little bit. We'll talk about them later. Definitely. So yeah, that's Blackburn. Getting Diaz back is going to be real good, and 13 to 8 I think is a fine price.
Completely agree. Sheffield United, I think. No.
Yeah, Sheffield United. Another odds on team.
Surely they're safe now.
4 to 9. You'd think so. They're level on points with Blackburn, they've got a game in hand over them, and they're 2 points behind Huddersfield with a game in hand on them. So if they win the game in hand, they're going to go 3 points ahead of Blackburn in 6th, and they're going to go into 4th. Billy Sharp,
the legend.
Yeah, he's their top scorer, 14.
Is he top goal scorer for them?
Top goal scorer for them, yeah. Because they've got some injuries in their attacking position, so they're a bit weak there, but they seem to be doing fine. Just nice and solid. Just win 4 or 5 more games, and they should be in.
Yeah, they've got some great players as well, like Sander Berg, the big lad in midfield, and the goalkeeper's fantastic as well. I think they've really performed really well this season. I think I wouldn't be surprised to see them in that playoff spot and possibly the playoff final as well. I think they've got a really strong squad, and I think if they don't make it, it'll be interesting to see how many players they can keep for next season as well, because they have some really, really good top quality players there.
Is Heckingbottom is the manager, is it?
Yes, yes it is.
A big Yorkshire local.
Absolutely.
And then we've got Huddersfield. So obviously, they had the Bielsa link. Their manager was Bielsa's second in charge. They've been playing some really nice stuff, but they've only got 1 point out of the last 3 games, which is a worry for me, because you see it season after season. You have this team that sort of storm at the wrong time. You don't want your run to be in between games 15 to go and 10 to go. You want your late surge to be the last 5 games, and I think that they've had their surge now. And I've seen it so often, it happens that a team goes and everyone's like, "Oh, these are playing really, really well, these," and then they just run out of steam just too late, and then they're the ones that just can't get a win in the last 6 games. Because it's not like people don't talk about it in terms of 10 games in the Championship. It's the last 6 games. As soon as it hits 40, everyone's like, right, this is the home stretch. And I think they're going to really struggle in their last 6 games, because, like I say, I've seen it all before. So I think they're the ones to take on, and that's why I would go for one of these bigger prices that's not odds on to get in, because currently you're going to have Luton, Huddersfield, Sheffield United, Borough, and Nottingham Forest. I think 2 of them could easily not get into the playoffs.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Which is going to open the door to a bigger price.
It's crazy with Huddersfield. I mean, they played such good football at the beginning of the season. Like they were unbelievable. Probably one of the best passing teams in the entire league. But as you said, recent form.
Yep. And they've got Luton, QPR and Borough in a run of 3 games. And basically, this is what I'm saying. If you run out of steam and you only get 1 point out of those, that you can't be wasting 8 points at this stage of the season.
For sure.
So yeah, I think Huddersfield, I have got them to actually just run out of steam and finish outside. And then last, currently in 3rd, we've got Luton.
Yeah, we touched on these earlier. I think pretty safe now.
Yeah, I think they're pretty safe. It's just a surprise for me. I would have had them nowhere at the start of the season.
They've been phenomenal. I mean, I've seen some of their games live on TV, and they've been absolutely fantastic.
They've got winnable fixtures as well. They've got Peterborough, Cardiff, and Reading. So you get 9 points from that. And I think you're home and hosed. The rest is just a sort of bonus. I think
if they claim 9 points just from their remaining games, I think it's close enough to them being confirmed in the top 6, definitely.
Yep. No injury concerns either. Squad all seems to be falling into place.
They have Harry up. Is it Harry?
Yeah, Harry and Elijah.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
They're both hit double figures. So yeah. I don't think they'll win the playoffs, but it's nice for them to get there.
I think it's going to be tough. I think Luton are known as sort of a team that really does grind results out. But this season hasn't been that case at all. They play some really good football. And I tell you what, it's not an easy place to go. I mean, you think about it, it's probably, well, it won't be the furthest south geographically, but it's quite a trek for most teams to get there.
Just north is just like north of London, isn't it? Yeah. That's another place that's pretty depressing.
Exactly. It's not easy for teams to go there and get a result. So
Kenilworth Road.
That's it. They've done well. So if I was to give you the prediction, then what is going to be? Obviously, I guess you're going to go Fulham Bournemouth. Yeah,
Fulham Bournemouth. Automatic promotion.
First.
You
give it to Luton.
No, I'll go with Sheffield United 3rd.
Yeah.
Yep. Luton 4th, and then it's a tricky one.
Borough Forest Forest Borough?
Probably Forest, and then probably Borough 6th, you'd think. But
don't say that to me. It sounds too convincing there.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tip up the 50. I'm going to say
you're Blackpool, don't you?
Yeah, I'm going to say to people it's worth a quid or two. So I've got to say that they're going to be the ones that sneak into 6th.
We'll tip it on Twitter anyway. That's for sure. I agree. I think it's a great price for them to get in there, and I'll definitely have those to myself.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to put a couple of quid on for sure after doing a bit of research. And then in terms of relegation, I think it's done and dusted. Do you think it might not be?
It's a tough one, I think, relegation. Yeah. I mean, we've got 3 teams in there. I can pull up the league table now so we can have a look, but it isn't confirmed at all. I think that's one of the main issues. We've got, in my opinion, I think there are 6 to possibly 7 teams that have the potential to go down. I'm just going to pull it up here now. At the moment, we have Derby sitting bottom. Obviously, it wasn't easy for Rooney, but they did have the points deduction. A lot of people saying they shouldn't even be in the league anyway, so it's justice. Mm-hmm. Whether I agree or not, I think no one can deny that they've done fantastic. Like considering, and what Rooney's done with that team is brilliant. And if by some miracle they do manage to stay up. It'll be interesting to see what Rooney decides to do, and the same as well if he goes down as well, whether he sticks with them or not. I did see an article the other day where he mentioned that his dream is to manage United, and one day he will do it, but he's just not ready for that at the moment. Mm-hmm. And I love his loyalty. I think that's something that he has to be appreciated.
Well, it was a win-win for Rooney. If he goes down, his stock was fine, and if he kept him up, his stock was incredible.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and going to Everton, that would have been a disaster because that is like a poison chalice. Lampard's going to be all right. They should stay up, but it's not a team that's on the up, Everton.
Yeah, no, I think they're going to struggle big time.
Yeah, so I think he made the right decision.
Definitely. We have Peterborough in 23rd. They're on 26 points. That's 1 point above Derby. And then you've got Barnsley in 28th. Those 2 teams have actually gone through periods where they've beaten some teams in the top sort of 8-9 bracket, Middlesbrough being included. But they can't grind results against the bottom half of the table. And that's where they've really let down. I think consistency is the main key. We have Reading 21st, Hull 20th, Birmingham 19th. Reading are on 33 points, so 5 points above Barnsley. We're saying, 7 games to go approximately. They could easily drop into that spot. Easily.
It's tough. I mean, I look and think if you've got a 5-point deficit, with 7 games to go, 21 points up for grabs, you've got to overturn 5. I think you need minimum 10, probably like 15. And I just think that that's far too much of an ask for a team that hasn't been winning.
I believe that Barnsley fans would say that if you think Blackpool can make the 6th spot, then they can definitely escape that relegation spot.
It's fair enough.
I mean, it's 5 points compared to the 9 that Blackpool have, essentially. And then you've got Hull, Birmingham, Bristol City, that are also in that 9 bracket as well. So, I mean, what can change at the top of the table can easily change at the bottom of the table too. I think it would be really unfortunate to see the likes of Cardiff, Bristol City, Birmingham go down into League One. However, with Hull and Reading, they've been there. Same with Barnsley, obviously, and Peterborough, so they'll be used to it. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, and I think Derby and Peterborough go down, but I think Barnsley survive.
You think Barnsley?
I do. I think.
That's fair enough.
I think Hull already slip into that spot. For some reason, I'm leaning towards Hull. I don't know why. I'm leaning towards them a little bit. They did get a result recently, which probably is the reason why they are where they are, but. Yeah, it's Hull and Reading for me.
Be some slide for Hull, but I've seen stranger things.
Oh, no, 100%, definitely. So, that pretty much sums it up for the Championship. If we just quickly go through top scorers, we've got Mitrovic on 35 goals. I mean, we talk about a guy who can do well in one league, but then when he goes to the Premier League, always struggles.
Yeah, it's crazy. He scores for Serbia as well.
There's been so many memes about it. Well, I think it's absolutely hilarious. I was actually in Serbia not long ago, and I remember speaking to the driver there, and I said, "So who's like the most sort of famous person that you think?" I was thinking of coming like Djokovic or something like that. he was like, no, Alexander Mitrovic. He was like, we love him. He scores goals in Championship, but nowhere else. He was like, he didn't even score goals in Serbia.
Yeah, it's strange. It's strange. I think he'd be very well suited to the Italian league, but obviously he's just.
He's getting on a bit as well. I mean, he's 28 now, something like that. So I think, I think if he's going to put his stamp on and have a good Premier League season, next season's probably the one for him. I think. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, if you're a Fulham fan as well, you know his record. Do you buy another striker?
Well, they had that one season where they just spent a load of money and it didn't work. Then the other time they went in the Premier League, when they got relegated last time, they decided they weren't going to spend any money. Yeah. So they've tried both tactics and neither have worked. Yeah. So I don't really know what Fulham's option is. Yeah. Maybe try and get some old free agents.
Yeah, like Middleton, we bought Negredo. You got Solanke at second, he's on 23 goals. Brereton on 20, Vyman on 18. I find it quite interesting with Brereton that he has 20 goals this season and 1 assist.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it? If we want to touch on League One, promotion opportunities in that, I think we're looking at Rotherham, Wigan.
I've gone for Rotherham and Wigan as automatic. And then when I was looking through the fixtures, it's quite it's going to be quite exciting because they all sort of play each other. So I think you've got MK Dons are in there, Plymouth are in there, Oxford are in there, and they've all got to play each other. Yeah. There's not many games left, they've all got to play each other. So I've gone for Wickham to win the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're currently, I think, two positions outside. The run of fixtures is all right, and they've been there, done that. They won the playoffs 2 years ago. They've been there, done that. Got a similar squad, same manager.
But you know what it takes. Probably in the playoffs.
No, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, Sheffield Wednesday.
But that's weird because, like I'm saying, because those three teams, they're all playing each other, and I think they're all playing each other like quite often. Well, not obviously they can only play each other once, but I mean like fourth will play second will play third will play fourth. They're all playing each other in and about. So it's obvious that those four aren't going to be the four that are in the playoffs at the end because there's no way that they can all keep picking up points. They're all going to have to drop points. Yeah. So you're looking at, like you say, Sunderland, Wickham, prime for getting into the playoffs.
I think Sunderland, Wickham, there's Ipswich there as well. I think Portsmouth's probably a little bit too far, and then there's Bolton as well. In the playoffs, we've got Sheffield Wednesday, Oxford, Plymouth, and MK Dons. MK Dons had a fantastic season this year. I've actually had them in quite a few of my betting knackers this year, actually.
Yeah. But like I say, they've got to play everyone, so I wouldn't. It's too risky.
Absolutely.
And in terms of relegation,
bottom half, obviously 4 get relegated from League One. Crew are sitting bottom on a quite pathetic 25 points.
But you actually sent me a picture on WhatsApp this afternoon.
I did. Let me pull this up. This will be funny. Let me see if I can find it. So, Peter, here it is. So, yeah, I sent him a photo of the current form of of the bottom 5, and in the last 5 games for all 5 teams, there hasn't been a single win. In fact, I might give you you can see it on the screen. I think it might be a bit blurry. We'll post that on Twitter. It's a bit of a laugh, so you can all have a look at it. But I mean, Fleetwood lost 4, drawn 1. Wimbledon lost all 5. Morecambe again lost 4, drawn 1. Doncaster drawn 2, lost 3. And Crewe lost all 5 games, and probably more as well. I think Doncaster's a bit of a strange one as well. I think they've been all right previous seasons, but just not worked out for them this year. I think they probably wanted to go back down so they could have a rival with Scunthorpe again, but the problem is Scunthorpe are getting relegated, I think. So.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, Crewe is actually the closest Football League ground to where I'm from.
Is it really?
Yeah. Just south of Warrington.
Wow.
Yeah, the railwayman.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And then sitting outside those spots, Fleetwood, Gillingham, Lincoln, could very much fall into the spot. I think Doncaster sitting at 23rd, they have to go up 3 places in order to stay up, and they're only 4 points off. But it's not bad.
But the problem with saying that, when you're talking about 6 points for playoff teams, it's because they're good teams and they can easily win.
Yeah.
You know, they have to win, and they've not won in however many games.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, it's only 5, but every single point is hard for them to get. So, like, 5 is a lot of points at this stage of the season.
For sure, definitely. And then quick mention on top scorer, Stuart for Sunderland, for 22 goals.
Man, League One player knowledge is not the greatest.
No, mine either, but we'll put it out there anyway.
Yeah, Jermaine Defoe was in for Sunderland for a few days, wasn't he, before he retired?
Was he, yeah?
Yeah. Bizarre.
League 2. Shall we quickly touch on it? We got, who we got, Tommy?
Well, for me, it's a bit, well, I guess it's a bit easier, but it's also a bit harder. For 4 teams go up from League One.
Yeah, because top 3 is
League 2, sorry.
Top 3 is automatic, and then you got the playoff spot.
So for the automatic ones, I've gone for Forest Green, Exeter, and Bristol Rovers. And Bristol Rovers are currently a little bit outside.
They're 7th, so they're one place in that playoff spot.
Yeah. Having a look at the fixtures,
It's really tight.
Yeah. I think Bristol Rovers have the more favourable fixtures.
Right.
So I think they're going to sneak into the top 3. Exeter, always there or thereabouts in League 2, is always. They just always seem to be there but never go up. This is going to be the one. And then obviously Forest Green, they're quite like a hipster club. Everyone seems to like them. You know, they've got like a wooden stadium and all that rubbish.
Yeah. I always pick them as my
funky kit.
Yeah, and also my starting team for career mode on FIFA. So.
And then another, a little bit like Wickham, just outside the playoff places at the moment, I've gone for Mansfield. Yeah, which would be quite a nice story.
Mansfield are 4th now. In all fairness, they are only 1 point behind Northampton, who are 3rd. So they're actually playing at the moment, winning 2-0 against who they playing? Against Hartlepool. So,
all right.
There you go.
Well, that's why they've gone up. That's an updated one. When I was looking, they were doing outside of the playoffs.
Oh, there you go.
So now if they win,
they're on 65 now. So they now sit in 4th. I like Swindon.
Yeah, check that, guys. You get live score updates in as well.
Yeah.
Well, it won't be live when you come out, but
innovative. There we go. I like Swindon. I think Swindon have a chance to get to that 7th, 6th, 5th, 4th position. It is really tight. You've got 4 teams sat on the same point, 63 points, and then you've got Swindon and Sutton on 61. Bottom half of the table. Well, actually, who's winning playoffs? Have we discussed that? You think Mansfield?
I think Mansfield are going to win, and Bristol are going to get into the top 3.
Brilliant.
Bristol Rovers.
Relegation, only 2 teams get relegated in League 2, and they'll then become, a non-league team, essentially. Scunthorpe United, bottom of the league with 24 points. That's the lowest in all 4 divisions in terms of points. They've had a terrible season, lost a few players. Manager hasn't been great, so they will be a non-league team next year, which is a shame. So that is where I'm from. And Oldham sit at 23rd with 32 points. Stevenage are 22nd. They have 34 points, only 2-point gap. But then Barrow, it's like a 5-point gap, so I think they're going to be safe. I think it's between Stevenage and Oldham for the last spot.
Yeah, Stevenage have been struggling for a while.
Yeah, if we look at their league form, it's pretty bad. I mean, they haven't won a game in 8, which is pretty poor. And if we look at Oldham, it's been 5 straight losses on the bounce. With 3 red cards, actually, interestingly.
Excellent.
Okay, so that pretty much sums it up for all the leagues. What we'll do is we can sort of gather together all the tips, best odds in terms of what we've discussed, and we can put it out on our Twitter for everyone to see. That pretty much brings us to the end of the episode. I've enjoyed it. I like talking about Championship.
Yeah, the Championship's exciting.
I don't think it gets enough recognition as it should.
Yeah, it's a great league compared to some of the other European leagues. Definitely. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of excitement.
I also like the idea as well that, especially over the last few years, you got the likes of Sky Sports and stuff showing more games on TV as well. And it gives those people who are Premier League supporters, for example, the opportunity to watch Championship football, because there are some really great young players. And let's not forget, some of the shining stars in the Premier League started off in the Championship.
Oh, for sure.
And even lower. So, I'm super happy with that episode. Very good. Next week, we are going to do something a little bit different, aren't we?
We're going to do a bit of a mashup.
Yeah, a little bit of a mashup. We weren't really sure what to do, and we wanted to fill the hour as well. And we have Aintree, which obviously we're both massive horse racing fans, so we definitely want to speak about that.
Yep.
You're a massive golf fan, so we wanted to involve the Masters.
Yep, the Masters will be up. We're actually going to put our tips up. Well, we're going to put the tips up for the Masters early because obviously we'll have a lot of other tips will start coming out before them. So we'll try and get our tips in before any other tipsters.
Definitely.
Just in case they, try and copy us.
Yeah. So keep an eye out on the Twitter for that. So we've got Aintree, we've got Masters.
Yeah, and then obviously City v Liverpool.
And City Liverpool as well. So we'll come up with some bet builders for that, I reckon.
Mm-hmm. Because realistically, that should be that's like a Premier League final.
Yeah, no, it's a huge game, and it could easily decide the league. For those of you who aren't massive horse racing fans either, the Aintree Festival is home to arguably the most popular race. I'd say it's the most popular horse racing event of the season for those who don't follow horse racing.
Yeah, definitely.
It's the Grand National. It's an absolute monster of a race. Me and Pete absolutely love it. We're going to be sharing our tips, who we fancy, who's entered as well, because a lot of people don't know who's in yet.
Yeah.
So
no Tiger Roll, unfortunately.
Yes, unfortunately. But we'll go into all that next week. Keep an eye on the Twitter because we're going to have loads and loads of tips coming out this weekend, aren't we? And also following week.
Yeah, we'll try and get some more IPL up as well, obviously, because there's a game each day now. I think usually what we'll try, when the double headers are on, we'll try and give tips so that there's more value that we can find in doing some cross game doubles. But we won't be doing a tip every game. We'll do one when we find value.
Definitely, 100%. Thanks, Pete. Been a pleasure. Thank you for listening to the Talking Sports Traders podcast. Subscribe for YouTube, give us a like, give us a comment, even on Twitter. If you have a winning bet from one of our tips, please let us know. And we will see you all next week.